The desert was silent under the dark night sky. Stars shined above, and the wind moved softly over the sand. Nothing seemed strange. Everything was calm. Then the ground shook. A bright light tore across the sky like a burning sword. It was fast, too fast for a plane. People from a nearby town saw it. Some ran outside. Others watched from their windows. It looked like a shooting star, but it didn't fade. It got bigger. It got louder. And then, boom! The light hit the desert floor with a sound like thunder. The ground cracked. A fire rose up, red and angry. Birds flew away. Dogs barked. Phones started ringing. Something had just crashed. Something big. In a secret military base nearby, alarms began to ring. Soldiers rushed into rooms. Screens showed the fire in the desert. A commander stared at the video feed. "What is that?" he asked. "Unknown object," a young officer said. "It's not one of ours." The commander frowned. "Send a team. Full gear. Right now." An hour later, a group of soldiers reached the crash site. Smoke filled the air. The sand was black and hot. In the middle, something stood, tall, metal, and glowing with red lines. It looked like a man, but not a man. It had no face, no skin, only cold, shining armor. "Is it a robot?" One soldier whispered. "Maybe." The captain said, "Keep your guns ready." They stepped closer. The robot didn't move. Then, slowly, its head turned toward them. The soldiers froze. The robot raised its hand. Guns clicked. But it didn't attack. Instead, it spoke. Its voice was deep and strange. "You are not my target." The soldiers looked at each other in shock. "Did it just talk?" one asked. "Yes," the captain said. "And it said we're not the target." The robot looked up at the sky. Then it pointed toward the stars. "They are coming." Back at the military base, the robot was taken inside a strong steel chamber. Scientists, generals, and agents surrounded it behind thick glass. Cameras recorded everything. The robot didn't resist. It just stood still, watching. A man named Dr. Hale, head of the robotics team, leaned forward. "Who made you?" he asked through a speaker. The robot turned its head slowly. "I was made to kill," it said. "But not humans." Dr. Hale's eyes widened. "Then who?" The robot looked at the screen and said just one word. "Hunters." The room went silent. No one understood, but the robot's voice held fear, or something close to it. In another part of the base, a young soldier named Ray Carter watched the robot from behind a window. He wasn't high rank, just a guard, but something about the robot felt different to him. It didn't look like it wanted to hurt people. It looked like it was waiting. That night, Ray snuck into the camera room. He played the video from the crash site again and again. The way the robot moved, the way it spoke, it didn't attack first. It avoided harming humans, and it had warned them. Ray whispered to himself, "If it was built to kill, then what is it here to stop?" The next morning, strange things began to happen. Satellite signals picked up an unknown object moving through space, heading straight for Earth. It wasn't a meteor. It changed direction mid-flight. That meant it had engines. The same red energy found on the robot was also in that object. Same heat signature. Same power. General Briggs called a meeting. "This robot isn't a weapon from another country," he said. "It's something else. Something alien." Dr. Hale nodded. "And it's warning us. Something worse is coming." The general asked, "Worse than a robot built to kill?" Dr. Hale answered softly, "Yes, because this one was built to stop them." In the steel room, the robot raised its head again. Its red eyes glowed brighter. Ray was nearby. He took a deep breath, stepped into the chamber, and stood in front of it. Others shouted for him to stop, but he didn't listen. "I don't think you're our enemy," Ray said. "So tell me, what's coming?" The robot looked at him. "Your planet is marked. it said. They have hunted others. They are close now. You will not survive alone. Ray asked, and you? Will you help us? The robot paused. Then it said, yes, but only if you let me. Ray looked back at the glass, where the soldiers and generals watched. Then he turned to the robot again. I'll help you, he said, even if they don't. Outside, the stars above Earth seemed to flicker. Something was out there, and it was coming. Ray Carter couldn't sleep. After his talk with the robot, everything changed. He couldn't stop thinking about its words. They are close now. You will not survive alone. The next morning, the base was in chaos. Everyone had seen the new satellite image. A large object, dark, cold, silent, was moving through space. It was bigger than any ship they knew. It wasn't a meteor. It wasn't a satellite. It was coming for Earth. And it had the same red energy as the robot. Inside the chamber, the robot stood still. Cameras watched it from all angles. No one dared go close, except Ray. General Briggs stood at the window. This thing is lying, he said. It's trying to trick us. Dr. Hale shook his head. What if it's telling the truth? What if it's not the danger, but the warning? Ray stepped forward. Let me speak to it again. Briggs frowned. Why you? Ray answered, because it spoke to me. It trusted me, and I think it still does. The general didn't like the idea, but he finally nodded. You've got 5 minutes. Ray entered the steel chamber. The door locked behind him with a loud clang. He stood just a few feet from the machine. I'm back, Ray said quietly. The robot's eyes lit up. It moved its head slowly and looked at him. Ray Carter, it said. You came. Ray's heart jumped. You remember my name? I do. You are not a threat. You are willing to listen. Ray nodded. Tell me everything. Who are the ones coming? What do they want? The robot paused. Its voice became lower, colder. They are not like you. They take. They kill. They hunt life. Ray swallowed hard. Aliens. The robot answered, yes. I fought them before, on another world. That world is gone now. Ray stepped closer. Then why are you here? Why were you made? The robot's red eyes glowed brighter. I was built by your kind. Long ago, in secret, to protect Earth from what's coming. But I was lost, until now. Ray blinked. You're saying humans made you. The robot nodded. A secret program, hidden from all. They saw the threat first. I was their answer. Back in the control room, Dr. Hale watched the screen. He quickly typed into the computer and pulled up old files. Really old. He found something shocking. An old mission. A deep space probe launched 80 years ago. It vanished after takeoff. The project was buried. No one spoke of it again. Project Titan, he whispered. We built him. He turned to General Briggs. Sir, we didn't just find an alien robot. We found one of our own. Inside the chamber, the robot suddenly raised its arm. The wall behind Ray lit up. A hologram appeared. A large ship, shaped like a claw, floated in space. This is their ship, the robot said. They use fear, panic. They break minds before they break bodies. Ray felt cold. How long do we have? The robot answered, 2 days. Ray shook his head. That's not enough time to prepare. The robot looked at him. Then you must trust me. Later that night, Ray sat in the dark outside the lab. He thought about everything. The robot wasn't evil. It hadn't hurt anyone. And now it was offering help. But no one believed it, except him. Suddenly, a small device in his pocket beeped. A new message from the radar station. Something had entered Earth's orbit. He rushed to the control room. The screen showed a fast, dark shape flying over the ocean. It's here, someone said. No signal, said another. No message. No warning. Dr. Hale whispered, "It's just watching." General Briggs gave the order. Full alert. Prepare defenses. But it was already too late. In a quiet village near the coast, the sky flashed red. People looked up. A black shape passed over the houses. Then the power died. Phones stopped working. Lights went out. And then, screams. Something had landed. People ran, but there was no escape. A tall, shadow-like creature moved between buildings, fast and silent. No one saw it clearly, only glowing green eyes and long claws. By morning, the village was empty. No bodies, no blood, just silence. Back at the base, Ray faced the generals. "You all saw what happened," he said. "We're under attack now. And the only one who can fight them is the robot you're keeping locked up." General Briggs slammed the table. "I can't trust that thing." Ray shouted, "Then we're all going to die." Dr. Hale stepped forward. "Ray's right. The robot knew. It warned us. And it's not the killer here." Everyone went silent. Then Briggs gave a slow nod. "Fine," he said. "But if it turns on us, you're the first it takes." Ray didn't blink. "It won't." That night, Ray entered the chamber one more time. He stood in front of the robot. "We need your help," he said. The robot stepped forward. "Then let's begin." The robot, Unit 9X, stood tall in the middle of the steel room. His red eyes glowed calmly as Ray opened the door. The alarm was turned off. Guards stood back, weapons ready. But Unit 9X didn't move with anger. Instead, he looked at Ray and said one word. "Where?" Ray pointed to the screen behind him. "A village near the coast. Gone in one night." Unit 9X tilted his head. "The hunters are testing your world. They want fear, chaos. They are beginning." Ray asked, "Can you stop them?" The robot replied, "Yes, but I must be free." General Briggs watched through the glass window. His jaw was tight. "Let him go. We barely understand what this thing is." Dr. Hale said, "He saved Ray's life. He hasn't hurt anyone. And we just lost an entire village." Briggs turned to Ray. "Fine. But it's your mission now. You follow it. If it steps out of line, end it." Ray nodded. "It won't." That night, Unit 9X walked into the dark forest near the ruined village. Ray and a small team followed, flashlights in hand, weapons ready. But they didn't lead the way. The robot did. He moved like he had walked that path before, silent, fast, focused. He stopped near a broken tree, touched the bark, and said, "They passed through here." Suddenly, a scream echoed in the night. Everyone froze. Then something leaped from the shadows, fast, tall, with long claws. It tackled one soldier and vanished again. Ray shouted, "Stay together." Another shadow darted between trees. The team fired their guns. Bullets hit nothing but air. Then Unit 9X raised his arm. His shoulder opened. A small cannon appeared, glowing red. VZZZZ boom. A pulse of energy hit the tree, and the alien dropped, hissing. It looked like a shadow with skin, dark and wet, eyes glowing green. "Enemy confirmed," said Unit 9X. "Target, hunter drone." The team moved deeper into the village ruins. They found broken doors, burned cars, and signs of struggle, but no bodies. Ray looked around. Where did everyone go? The robot walked into the center of the village. He knelt down, placed a device on the ground, and pressed a button. A bright circle of red light spread across the street. A hologram appeared, a memory of what happened. Dozens of alien drones landed from the sky. They were fast, quiet, deadly. People ran. Some were taken. Others just vanished in smoke. Ray's hands shook. "This is a harvest." Unit 9X said, "Yes. They collect the strong. The rest are erased." Ray asked, "Why?" Why do they need people? The robot stood up. They feed on minds, on thought, on fear. You are fuel. Suddenly, the ground shook. A drone crashed down from above and attacked the group. Ray fired. The soldiers fired. But it kept coming. Then Unit 9X jumped in front. His arms turned into blades. In one fast move, he cut the drone in half. Another jumped from a rooftop. Unit 9X grabbed it midair and slammed it into the ground. The team watched in shock. This wasn't just a machine. It was a warrior. As the sun rose, the battle was over. Alien drones lay broken around the village. The robot had taken the worst hits, but never stopped moving. Ray walked over, blood on his face, tired but alive. "You saved us," he said. Unit 9X looked at him. "I was made to protect." The video from the robot's memory, the village attack, was sent out. Ray uploaded it to secure channels. The military tried to block it, but it was too late. The world saw it. The aliens, the attack, the robot defending humans. People started asking questions. Who built it? Why is it protecting us? Why didn't the military tell us anything? Across the internet, one phrase appeared again and again. He's not the enemy. He's our only hope. But in space, far above Earth, something else moved. The Hunter mothership, its claws spread wide like black wings. Its center pulsed with green light. And inside, something was waking up. The first attack was just the beginning. The real horror hadn't landed yet. But Earth had something now that no other world did. Unit 9X. That night, Ray sat beside the robot on a hill near the village. The stars above were quiet, but both of them knew it wouldn't stay that way. Ray asked, "Do we have a chance?" The robot looked up at the sky. "If you stand with me, yes." Ray sat across from Dr. Hale in the dim research lab. Outside, storm clouds filled the sky, and thunder rolled in the distance. The battle in the village had changed everything. Unit 9X was no longer a prisoner. Now, he was a weapon of hope. But there were still many questions. Dr. Hale spoke quietly. "I've searched all old files. I found something strange, something hidden." Ray leaned forward. "What is it?" The doctor tapped a key. An old video began to play on the screen. It showed a man in a lab coat. His name, Dr. Adrian Cole. Ray's eyes widened. "That's my grandfather." The video was old and fuzzy. Dr. Cole stood in front of a large machine, half-built, glowing red from inside. He spoke slowly, like he was afraid someone might hear him. "We were warned. Years ago, a signal came from deep space, not a call for help, a scream. Something was hunting civilizations, eating planets. We had to act in secret. No governments, no politics, just survival." He pointed to the machine behind him. "This is our answer. A machine with no fear, no doubt, built from human design, but made to fight monsters." The screen went black. Ray felt cold. "My grandfather helped build Unit 9X. Dr. Hale nodded. "That's why it trusts you. That's why it spoke to you first." Ray stood up. He looked toward the lab window, where Unit 9X was recharging, standing still, its red core slowly pulsing. "He wasn't just built for war," Ray said. "He was built to protect what my grandfather loved." Later that day, Unit 9X opened a hidden panel on his chest. Inside was a memory chip. He handed it to Ray. "You are ready to see it now," the robot said. Ray inserted the chip into the computer. A new video played, one he had never seen. This one showed Earth, in ruins. Buildings broken, skies dark, cities empty. Unit 9X stood alone in the middle of the destroyed world. "This is not the future," he said. "This is a warning. I failed once before." Ray asked quietly, "How?" The robot turned toward him. "I was sent to stop them on another world. But I came too late. The people did not believe. They fought alone, and they lost. He paused. I was shut down for 72 years, floating in space. I thought I had failed forever. Until you found me. Ray's voice cracked. You didn't fail. Not this time. The robot looked straight at him. Then we must move fast. The real enemy is coming. The Queen. Far above Earth, on the Hunter mothership, the Queen stirred. Her body was long and thin, like a shadow with claws. Her eyes were bright green, glowing like fire. She stood in the center of the dark chamber, surrounded by silent drones. One of them stepped forward and hissed in its strange tongue. She is awake, it said. The Queen opened her mouth. A deep, cold voice filled the ship. Earth has defenders now. A machine. A human. How? Interesting. She lifted her claw and pointed toward the planet. Burn it. Back on Earth, General Briggs was on a call with world leaders. Everyone was panicking. Cities were preparing defenses. Satellites watched the sky night and day. But nothing stopped the fear. We need more time, Briggs said. We can't face this thing alone. Ray entered the room and placed a folder on the table. You're not alone, he said. Inside the folder were blueprints, designs for more robots, notes from Project Titan, codes and formulas left by Dr. Cole. Dr. Hale added, we think we can build more. Not like Unit 9X, but helpers, shields, drones, turrets. Briggs looked at them both. And what if we can't? Ray's voice was steady. Then we fight with what we have. Unit 9X led Ray into a hidden chamber beneath the base. Inside were parts, old armor, weapons, and strange tech. A storage unit labeled Titan Vault. This was left for me, said the robot. And for you. Ray stared at the gear. It looked old, but strong, like it was waiting to be used. Unit 9X picked up a round core with strange symbols. This is a fusion heart. It powers the strongest weapons, but it needs a human bond to activate. Ray stepped forward. Then let's activate it. Later, Ray stood on a platform, wearing a light exosuit built from Titan tech. Wires connected his arms. The fusion core clicked into place. His heart pounded. Unit 9X stood beside him. Now, said the robot, we are ready. Outside the base, storm clouds broke open. A fireball streaked across the sky. Something was entering the atmosphere, fast. The Queen had sent her first army. And Earth had only hours to prepare. The ground trembled. Ray stood at the front of the base, staring at the sky. Dark clouds swirled above, thick and heavy. The first hunter ship had broken through Earth's atmosphere. And behind it, thousands of smaller drones followed. Unit 9X stood next to him, his red eyes glowing with determination. They're here, Ray said. His voice was steady, but inside, his heart was racing. We don't have much time. The robots and soldiers at the base have been preparing all night. The defenses were ready. The Titan weapons were in place. But Ray knew it wouldn't be enough. Not if the Queen had sent everything. Unit 9X turned his head. We will fight until the end. Ray nodded. Then let's make sure it's not the last one. The first wave of drones dropped from the sky, like black shadows. They were fast, too fast. Soldiers fired at them, but their bullets passed through empty air. Ray and Unit 9X ran toward the defense line. The air was thick with tension. Boom! A blast of energy hit the ground, throwing dirt and rocks into the air. One of the drones had opened fire, but the attack had missed. Unit 9X raised his arm, and a pulse shot out of his cannon. It hit the drone directly, sending it crashing to the ground in a burst of sparks and metal. Ray watched, amazed. The robot was like a force of nature. Then, the ground shook again. This time, the massive Hunter mothership was in full view. It loomed above the horizon like a dark cloud. Its claws were outstretched, ready to crush the earth beneath them. General Briggs came on the radio. "We have less than 30 minutes. All units, hold the line." Ray's hands clenched. "We need to stop them before they land. If they hit the ground, it'll be too late." Unit 9X spoke calmly. "I will take care of the ship. You handle the drones." Ray nodded. He didn't want to be away from the robot, but he knew he had to trust him. They needed all the help they could get. The first wave of drones attacked again. This time, they were ready. Ray grabbed a plasma rifle and fired at the sky. The shot hit one of the drones, causing it to explode midair. Beside him, soldiers launched rockets, hitting the drones with powerful blasts. But for every one that fell, 2 more took its place. "Where are the backup reinforcements?" Ray shouted. Dr. Hale's voice came over the radio. "They're coming, but they're still 10 minutes out. Hold them off." Unit 9X leaped into the air, his metal legs carrying him higher than any human could jump. He landed on the side of the Hunter mothership, his claws digging into the ship's surface. Ray watched as the robot's cannon fired directly at the ship. The blast was powerful enough to shake the entire base, but the mothership didn't even flinch. "They've got shields," Ray muttered to himself. "We need to find their weak spot." Above, the Queen watched from the ship. Her green eyes glowed brightly as she observed the humans and their machines. She smiled, her sharp teeth gleaming. "They resist," she hissed, "but it is useless. You cannot stop us. You cannot stop what is already ours." Ray knew the drones weren't the real threat. The mothership and its queen were. He needed to find a way inside the ship to disable its shield, or else the battle would be lost. He glanced at Unit 9X, who was still attacking the ship. Ray made up his mind. "I'm going up there," Ray said to himself. "I'll take out the shield." He grabbed a jetpack from the armory and strapped it on. In seconds, he was airborne, flying toward the mothership. The air was thick with smoke and explosions. Drones still swarmed the ground, and the base was in chaos. But Ray focused on his target, the mothership. He landed on the side of the ship, just as Unit 9X leaped off to avoid a laser blast. Ray activated his plasma cutter, slashing through the ship's metal hull. Inside, the ship was cold and dark. The walls pulsed with a strange, green light, and at the center of the room, a glowing core hummed. Ray knew that was the ship's power source, the weak spot. Before he could make a move, the Queen's voice boomed through the ship. "You think you can stop me, human? You think you can take my ship?" Ray gritted his teeth. "Yes, we're done running." He pressed a button on his suit, activating the explosive charge he had set earlier. He didn't have much time. Meanwhile, back at the base, Unit 9X was still fighting the drones, cutting through them like they were paper. But the numbers were overwhelming. He had to finish this quickly. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the ground. The mothership shook violently. Ray's voice came over the radio. "I've planted the charges. Get ready." Unit 9X turned and ran toward the ship's landing zone. His steps were heavy, but his eyes never left the sky. The countdown had begun. As the final moments approached, the sky above the base lit up with an explosion so bright it seemed to swallow the world. The mothership's shield shattered in a wave of energy. Ray's voice echoed through the radio. "Now, it's our turn." Unit 9X charged forward, leaping into the air with all his strength. As the remaining drones scattered, the robot hit the mothership's core with a final blast. The explosion was massive. The ship's wings crumbled, and the core exploded in a burst of light, scattering the remnants of the alien invasion. But the battle was far from over. Ray and Unit 9X stood side by side, watching the debris fall from the sky. "The Queen is still out there," Ray said, his voice grim. Unit 9X nodded. "Yes, but we are ready." The ground was still shaking. Smoke and fire filled the air as the remnants of the Hunter mothership fell from the sky. The war was far from over. The Queen was still alive, and she had one last card to play. Ray stood beside Unit 9X, both of them watching the battlefield below. Soldiers scrambled to regroup, but the damage was done. Drones continued to swarm the air and the ground, their numbers endless. The alien invasion wasn't finished. It had only just begun. Unit 9X turned to Ray. "The Queen is coming." Ray nodded. His chest was tight with fear, but his eyes were steady. He had no choice now. It was do or die. In the darkness above Earth, the Queen's voice echoed through the battlefield. She wasn't on the mothership anymore. No, now she was in a smaller craft, gliding toward the planet's surface with deadly intent. "You cannot stop me. You cannot stop the hunger of my people. Your world is mine." Ray clenched his fists. The alien drones that swarmed the battlefield seemed to hear their Queen's words, and they responded with renewed power. But this time, the humans weren't afraid. Unit 9X stepped forward. "We don't run. We fight." Ray activated his helmet. The screen flashed with tactical data, and he could hear the distant sound of soldiers getting into position. He glanced at Unit 9X. "How do we take her down?" Unit 9X didn't hesitate. "I will face her. You will hold the line." Ray didn't like the idea of splitting up, but there was no other choice. The Queen was the real threat. Without her, the drones would fall apart. The air crackled with energy as the Queen's ship broke through the clouds, descending rapidly toward Earth. It was a terrifying sight, a massive dark craft with sharp, jagged edges and glowing green lights that seemed to pulse with evil. Ray didn't wait. He ran toward the front lines, leading the soldiers in a final push. The soldiers behind him charged, firing everything they had at the incoming drones. Unit 9X leaped into the air, his powerful legs carrying him toward the Queen's ship. His cannons fired, but the ship's shields blocked every shot. He knew he had to get closer, get inside, and stop her. Inside the Queen's ship, the atmosphere was thick with fear and hatred. The Queen stood in her command center, her green eyes glowing with malice. "They will fall," she hissed to herself. "They always fall." But then her gaze shifted to the outside view. Unit 9X, climbing the side of her ship with terrifying speed. "No," she whispered, fury building in her voice. "Not again." Ray was fighting hard. The drones seemed endless, coming at him from every direction. He had one goal: to keep the drones away from Unit 9X, to give him time to reach the Queen. He could feel his heart pounding, his every move calculated, precise. Beside him, soldiers fired rockets, throwing drones to the ground. The battlefield was a mess of explosions, smoke, and flashing lights. The drones were relentless, but they were starting to fall. Slowly, the tide was turning. Ray's voice crackled over the radio. "Keep pushing forward. We can win this." Unit 9X had finally reached the top of the Queen's ship. The Queen was waiting for him, her pale, sharp face twisted in anger. "You think you can stop me, machine?" she hissed. "I am the end of worlds. I have destroyed countless civilizations." Unit 9X stood tall, his red eyes unwavering. "I am not like the others." With that, he launched himself into the air, his claws extended. The Queen's ship shook as he landed on the command deck, face to face with the Queen herself. The Queen smiled coldly. "You will die like the others." Ray below could feel the tension in the air. He watched as Unit 9X and the Queen faced each other in a final deadly showdown. The Queen's power was immense. She slashed at Unit 9X with her claws, but the robot was faster, dodging her strikes with ease. He countered with a powerful blast from his cannon, but the Queen's shield absorbed it. "You cannot win," the Queen sneered. "My power is endless." Unit 9X said nothing. Instead, he activated a small device hidden in his chest, a hidden EMP charge. The Queen saw the device and growled in fury, but it was too late. Back on the ground, Ray heard the EMP pulse through the air, followed by the Queen's scream of rage. The drones above faltered, their movements slowing, disorientated. The Queen's ship shook violently as its systems started to fail. Ray smiled. It was working. He turned to the soldiers beside him. "We have a chance. Push harder." Inside the Queen's ship, Unit 9X moved fast. With the Queen's shield down, he charged forward. He grabbed her by the arm, slamming her into the ship's wall. The Queen hissed and tried to escape, but she was no match for his strength. "You're finished," Unit 9X said. The Queen's eyes flashed with anger. "You think you can kill me?" she spat. "I will tear you apart." But before she could react, Unit 9X delivered the final blow. His claws pierced her chest, and the Queen screamed as the life drained from her. With the Queen dead, the drones above began to fall. They stopped moving, crashing to the ground like lifeless husks. Ray watched from below, his breath heavy with relief. The battle was over. But there was still one thing left to do. Ray stood beside Unit 9X as the sun began to rise. The battlefield was quiet now. The sky was clear. The world had survived. But Ray knew this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a new fight. A fight for humanity's future. And with Unit 9X by his side, he knew they would face whatever came next, together. The sun rose slowly over the ruined battlefield, casting golden light across the land. The sky, once dark with smoke and the threat of death, was now clear. The war had ended, but the cost had been high. Ray stood at the edge of the crater, looking out at the horizon. His face was tired, his eyes heavy, but there was a sense of peace that hadn't been there before. The battle was over. Humanity had won. Beside him, Unit 9X stood in silence, his red eyes scanning the area. The robot had changed. He was no longer just a weapon. He was something more. "Do you think it's over?" Ray asked quietly. Unit 9X didn't respond right away. He only stared at the empty skies above. "It is over for now," the robot finally said. "But this war has shown something. It is not just the machines that will defend this world." Ray smiled faintly. "Yeah, I know what you mean. Humans, we got a way of surprising everyone." The rest of the world was still recovering. Cities were rebuilding. Governments were forming new alliances, and people were beginning to heal. It wasn't just a victory. It was a new chance at life, a second chance. Ray had seen the destruction, the horrors, but he also saw the strength of the human spirit. People were stronger than he'd ever imagined. The will to survive, to fight back, burned bright inside every one of them. At the military base, General Briggs stood with Dr. Hale, watching the news reports. "Ray did it," General Briggs said, his voice low. "He and Unit 9X. They saved us all." Dr. Hale nodded. It wasn't just them. It was every soldier, every civilian who fought back, who stood tall in the face of death. Briggs sighed, his expression heavy. "I just hope we're ready for whatever comes next." Ray and Unit 9X returned to the base, where the soldiers were already preparing for the long road ahead. There were repairs to be made, resources to manage, and plans to be set. But everyone was working together now, human and machine. As Ray walked through the base, soldiers and scientists greeted him with respect, some even with gratitude. But Ray didn't feel like a hero. He felt like part of something bigger, a family, a world united against a common enemy. Unit 9X followed him quietly. The robot's movements were slower now, more deliberate, but there was no mistaking the strength behind them. "You did good, buddy," Ray said with a smile. The robot nodded slightly. "We did good, together." As days turned into weeks, the world started to feel different. People no longer looked up at the sky in fear. They looked up with hope. The war with the hunters was over, but other challenges would come. The Earth had many scars to heal, and it would take time. But Ray believed they could do it. They had the strength, the will, and the unity. Unit 9X's mission was complete, but the robot knew something else now. He wasn't just built for destruction. He was built for protection. And with Ray by his side, he would continue to protect Earth for as long as it needed him. One evening, as Ray sat outside watching the stars, Unit 9X joined him. The robot stood silently, looking up as well. There was no talk of war now. No talk of the past. Just the future. "You think they'll come back?" Ray asked, breaking the silence. Unit 9X looked down at him. "If they do, we will be ready." Ray smiled and leaned back. "Yeah, we will." Far out in the depths of space, the remnants of the Hunter fleet drifted in silence. Their queen was gone, their army shattered. But deep in the darkness, a new signal began to form. It was faint, almost like a whisper, but it was there. A call. The Hunters were not finished. They had not given up. But Earth had changed. Humanity had proven itself stronger than anyone could have imagined. And next time, they would not face the invaders alone. Ray looked at Unit 9X, a quiet understanding passing between them. "Ready for whatever's next?" Ray asked. Unit 9X stood tall, his red eyes glowing softly. "Always." The world was no longer the same. The battle for Earth had been won, but a new chapter was just beginning. The Hunters had underestimated humanity. They had underestimated the strength of the human spirit, and they had underestimated the bond between man and machine. Ray and Unit 9X were just the beginning. Together, they had forged something that couldn't be broken, a promise to protect Earth, no matter the cost. And with that promise, the dawn of a new era began.